So we'll begin our story of Tailtiu. So this holiday today, the day we're in right now, August 1st, is Lammas or Lunasa, or however you say that in Celtic. And Lunasad, I think is the way Leander says it, the festival of the first harvest. And we think of this festival as belonging to Lu, the sun god. And yet there's a story older than the story of it being Lu's festival. So Lu was actually raised by a foster mother. Actually, he was raised by two foster mothers. But the second foster mother who raised him from the age of 14 until he could present himself at the court of Tara, her name was Tailtiu. And she was the last queen of the Fear Bogs. Now you see, Ireland has many people who have laid claim to being the original people of Ireland. There are the Fear Bogs, the Fomorians, the Tuatha De Danann, the Celts. The Celts are probably all of those people, but they tell their stories about conquering each other. And so the Fear Bogs were a fearsome people with a lot of magical skills. They conjured earth and air and fire, and they were able to use a lot of magic in defending their stronghold of Ireland. And Tailtiu, she was a queen in this lineage and helped to raise Lu to adulthood. The people of Ireland were going through a great transition. They were transitioning from the Fear Bog rule to the rule of the Tuatha De Danann, the people of the light, the shining ones, the people we think of as the fairy people of Ireland. And in that transition, a lot of things changed. And Tailtiu saw what was happening. Her husband died in battle. She was mourning his death. She saw the transition her people were going through. Her people were, the land that they had was shrinking as the Tuatha De Danann were taking over more of Ireland. And she knew that her people needed a new way of life to survive and sustain themselves. And so she cleared an ancient forest full of oak and yew trees and deep roots and big boulders, and with her own hands she went and she cleared this forest and turned it to a meadow. And that meadow within 1 year was full of clover and rich soil and ready for agriculture for her people. But in the effort it took to clear that forest for her people to have agriculture, she completely exhausted herself and her heart began to fail. And so she called her son to her, Lu, and her new husband, and she said, build me a funeral mound. I'm not going to survive this first harvest, the year after her clearing the field. And so they built her a funeral mound. And what Lu wanted and what Tailtiu wanted was for her life to be remembered with joy and festivities. And so every year on Lammas or Lunasa, they would have great games and feats of strength and like axe throwing and, you know, the stuff that the Irish love to do. So this became the remembrance of her life, the remembrance of her sacrifice, the remembrance of her toil for her people. She actually had remarried a Tuatha De Danann man. So her life was the bridge. She transitioned power from Fear Bog to the Tuatha De Danann, and she gave her life, making life possible for her people in Ireland. So there's some veiled information in that story too. So the people of Ireland before the Tuatha De Danann, they were likely like the Stone Age people or the Iron Age people. And they were nomadic, they were hunter-gatherers, they hadn't really gone into agriculture. This was the stronghold of the Druids and their wisdom. And so the uprooting of the trees in a lot of ways was the uprooting of the Druid influence and the beginning of like a different way of being in Ireland. So we start to wonder, like, what have we given up to become stable people in a stable civilization? Like, what have we given up for agriculture? What have we given up for the conveniences? So that's the kind of the question that comes out of Tailtiu's story. She is thought of as a goddess of Ireland now, a goddess of the land, a goddess of sovereignty, a goddess of endurance, and the willingness to sacrifice. And knowing that her body actually becomes the harvest every year. When they're cutting the grain, they're actually cutting the fruit, the gifts of Tailtiu that she made possible for us to thrive and to continue to live. So as we open our circle for a ritual, if you have a cup of tea or you have water or something that you're drinking, and if you have elixir or honey or something to use as an elixir, we're going to seal or open our time in circle by having a drink of an elixir of life, an elixir of vitality, something that gives us endurance to move through this energy of sacrifice and harvest and doing what needs to be done for our people. So I'm just going to put a drop of my elixir in tea. Like I said, honey makes a really great elixir, whatever is nourishing to you. And then we will drink that together to set our intention to contact Tailtiu tonight in our journey. Oh my goodness, this tea is.
I'm in love with this elixir and the tea.
Thanks.
Well, and I will add something. Like, I have been renovating our garage the past 2 weeks, and this vitality elixir and this tea is what's gotten me through it. That's the only reason I'm still standing. Oh, those are beautiful together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
Okay. So now that we've learned a little bit about Tailtiu and her legacy, we're going to take a journey with her. For this one, you'll want your bowl or a basin with some of the tea in it, or if you just have water, that's fine too. And you'll probably want a towel for the end of this. So if you need to grab that real quick, go ahead. I'll wait till I see everybody's faces before we start in again. Okay, I think everybody's coming back. So a little bit about the Tailtiu tea. It's mixed with black tea, blackberry, yarrow, raspberry, red clover, and meadowsweet. And I chose these for specific reasons. Black tea is for courage, because we always need courage moving forward. It's one of those necessities in life, especially right now when things are so scary. So black tea is for courage, and blackberry is the true symbolism of this tea. This is where the nuts and bolts of this tea come through. And blackberry is such a wonderful, amazing vine or bush, depending on how it grows in your yard. I used this blackberry specifically because it's specific to Linasad, and it has healing properties. It has properties of prosperity and protection. So not only does blackberry have incredible health benefits, but it also has a benefit to the land, to our inner spirit. It's often used as a offering to land spirits and to the gods, to the old gods. And the blackberry can be used in healing magic or Reiki sessions, that sort of thing. If you were looking to heal the body, heal the mind, heal the spirit, and heal emotions. And specifically, what blackberry helps us do is it helps us recover from trauma and devastation. you look at blackberry, I was going to bring some in. I have some growing outside the window here. I should have, so you could see the thorns. Blackberry has very strong hooked thorns. You think of rose as being a thorny plant. Well, this one, they seem to sneak up on you because they're even on the backside of the leaves. So if you're not careful with blackberry, it'll cut you literally to bleed, and very easily. And blackberry will aggressively let you know when you have crossed its boundaries. And when I was studying herbalism, Erin and I have talked about this. My mentor taught me how to touch plants like nettle, stinging nettle, and blackberry, and not get stung or cut by the plants. So blackberry is one of those that if you have to approach it with respect. You have to approach it with reverence, or you will get stabbed, you'll get cut, and to the point where you'll bleed. So when working with blackberry, it's a very good plant for those who have issues with establishing solid boundaries. And often from what I've read and what the knowledge I could gain, blackberry was also grown on the perimeters of properties as a protective barrier, because it would keep out intruders. You don't want to walk through that, you're going to get cut, right? So it's a very good plant to grow around your property, grow it around your front door. One legend says that if you grow it on either side of your door, anyone who walks through it, the negative energy will be pulled away from them and not allowed to enter your home. And that's the duty of the thorns, protection. So, if you have one of those spirits that's kind and caring and you give too much of yourself, blackberry is a very good plant to incorporate into your spiritual path to help you establish those boundaries. And blackberry will fiercely defend your boundaries for you, or help you defend those. And the roots of blackberry are another unique thing, because once they're established, it's very difficult to get rid of blackberry. We had one small plant a year ago. I have about 5 of them now. And they go nuts and they will take over. But it's interesting. I always think this is interesting when you're working with plant medicine. If you do it intuitively, the right plants will grow in the right areas. So oddly enough, the blackberry is growing in the exact place where 5 years ago, a woman speeding down our road hit our house and was literally parked in the room I'm sitting in right now. And ironically, blackberry is growing in the exact spot where she hit the house. So, and that is the exact trajectory that if anybody else were to hit that corner too fast again, they would hit our home. So I really believe that when you start working with plants intuitively, they really do work for you, and they will protect you by growing in the right places. And if you're out in the wild, blackberry becomes a very nice shelter for animals, birds, rabbits, that sort of thing. And again, it goes back to the approaching it with reverence and respect. You can hide in blackberry. It'll protect you if you enter blackberry with respect. So when we're talking about Tailtiu, we're talking about endurance, we're talking about stamina and the ability to keep pushing forward. And the roots of blackberry demonstrate this to us on a monumental scale. Go ahead, plant some blackberry, see what happens next year. It'll be one of those things. So the next ingredient on the list is yarrow, and that's for courage, love, and psychic powers, or mental agility. And raspberry, again, for protection, and red clover for prosperity, and meadowsweet for happiness and peace. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a journey to Tailtiu, and we're going to see what she has to tell us, what messages of endurance she has to share with us. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. I am not much of a meditator, but I like to take journeys. So I do a lot more journey work than meditating. So I'm going to guide you verbally through what you're going to see. And there'll be a point where I have you interact. And then You'll want to have your bowl of tea or water available to you and your towel for the end of this. So go ahead and sit back and close your eyes. Get comfortable. And start breathing through your nose and slowly out and fully out through your mouth. Relax your head. Breathe in. Relax your shoulders. Breathe in again. And as you breathe out, relax your back. Breathe in one more time. Start relaxing your torso, your arms, your hands. And on your out breath, just let it all go. Let all the tension melt away like a candle burning down its wick. Allow your tension to fall away like wax down the side of the candle. Breathe in and move down to your hips. And as you breathe out, relax your hips. Relax your joints, all the muscles. On your next breath, relax your legs, breathing out all the tension. Move down to your feet. Breathe in, breathe out. Come to a natural rhythm in your breathing. Now I want you to look at your feet. If they have socks and shoes, go ahead and take them off, either metaphorically or physically. I'm doing it physically. Wiggle your toes. And I want you to look at your feet and notice how solid they are, how grounded they are on the earth. I want you to see the earth beneath your feet. Maybe it's green grass, maybe it's rich, dark soil. What kind of earth do you want to sink your feet into? Take a moment, just take it in. See all the different shades of green or brown. Maybe you have black gold underneath your feet. Beautiful, rich soil. Now, as you are paying attention to your feet and your toes and the soil, earth beneath your feet, you notice there's a path opening up in front of you. It's a wide path leading to a distant horizon. And you begin to take one step at a time, walking this path. It feels smooth, it feels solid, it feels gentle on your feet. It's nice to walk on. On either side of the path is grass that's growing somewhat wild. You can see some flowers. And after a little while, you start to notice that you're coming up on a hedgerow. And this hedgerow is massive. It spans as far as you can see from either side. You look to the left, you can't see the end of it. You look to the right, and you can't see the end of it. And as you come closer to it, you can see that it's made of blackberry. You can see its long, slender stalks and its stems with dangerous-looking thorns. The beautiful, wide green leaves. They're slightly moving in the breeze, almost playfully in the breeze. And you know you have to stop because there's no passage. Although the path you walk on seems to go right through the blackberry. You try to look through it, but it's dense. You can't see through it. So you take a moment, take a deep breath, and with your hand to your heart, you ask permission. You ask permission to pass through the blackberry. Breathe deep and ask permission to pass. And next inhale, you notice movement. Suddenly, the blackberry begins to part, creates a passable archway for you. There's enough clearance that you can walk through with ease. And as you walk through, you are shaded by the dense blackberry thicket. No thorns harm you, no scratches. And you thank the blackberry for allowing you safe passage. And as you walk through, you see bright light at the end. Coming up to the bright light, you notice that you're in a beautiful meadow. To one side looks like an ancient forest, and on the other side is vast and wide. And as you walk, approaching this meadow, you see that there are neat, well-curated garden beds everywhere. And as you walk, you see plants beginning to sprout up. You see squash and cabbage, kale, oats, apple trees. And as you look behind you, you see the blackberry border closing in, creating a sense of protection. And looking around you, you can see that you can clearly walk through these fields that have been well tended and well tilled. You start marveling at all the different edibles that you can imagine. There's eggplant and bell pepper, pumpkin. And you're just so eager to find out who could have done such a wonderful, wonderful thing. There must be many, many people here. And as you come to the end, or what seems to be the end of this cultivated marvel that is agriculture, that is the garden, almost the perfect representation of paradise. There's plenty of food for everyone, for the animals and human alike. You see a woman. She is tilling the soil. She's felling trees with her bare hands. She's moving boulders with her strong legs. And you walk up to her to find out, who could this woman be? How can one woman do so much? And she stops and she looks at you and she asks you to help her. So you start helping her pull up trees, and you marvel at the strength you have in your arms and your legs. And you're both dirty and sweaty together. But after the long, hard day, you notice she's had enough. That suddenly all the work she's done has become too much, because nothing lasts forever. And she collapses on the ground. So you go to her and hold her in your arms. You look into her eyes. You can see the sweat dripping from her brow. Her hair is matted and stuck to her face. There's blood on her hands. And she speaks to you one last time about the work of endurance, the work of digging in, the work of knowing your strength and using your strength. Allow her message to come to you now. As you hold her in your arms, and she finishes telling you all that she needs to tell you, you feel her body become very light, and suddenly it turns to dust, and this dust immediately returns to the earth. It is soaked up almost like water. And as you look around, you can see that the land underneath your feet raises into a great mound that overlooks the fields, all the squash, all the berries, all the fruit and vegetables you can see. They're all watched over by this great burial mound. And you can feel in your hands, in your legs, in your back, suddenly you have renewed strength. You have more strength than you ever had before. You feel like you can pick up the boulder next to you and just throw it over your head. You have so much strength. And you realize at this moment that Tailtiu is with you. She will always be with you. And all her strength, all her ability to endure, and her stamina is yours whenever you need it. Take a moment to thank her. Take a moment to marvel in the balance she has created between agriculture and the ancient forest. As they coexist together, as they coexist in one place, providing enough for human and animal alike. As you stand up, you begin to walk back through the fields, again marveling at the beautiful harvests that are growing and ready for anyone, creating enough for everyone. And you reach the blackberry border, and again you ask for permission to pass with humility, with reverence. And again, the blackberries part and allow you to come through, making your way back to your original path where the flower and the grasses grow, back to the spot where you stood in the soil and the grass, stood on the earth and marveled at the strength of your feet planted on the earth. You can begin coming back to your body, wiggle a little, breathe, stretch. And when you're ready, grab your bowl. And what you're going to do is you can dip your fingertips in the bowl of water. And this is going to wash away the dirt of our labors. So go ahead and just wash your hands. You can wash your feet with the tea. And I want you to feel how it washes away the sweat of our labors, the toil, the blood, the tears, the strain of our back, and how it infuses us with strength and endurance. How this infuses us with the ability to go on. So when we use tea, we can always drink it, but we can also use it for other energetic purposes. So when we wash ourselves with tea, we're serving the same energetic purposes as we would if we drank the tea. We can wash our floors with it. We can wash our doorways, our magical items, you name it. So this is something I would encourage you to try out. See how you like it. Bathe in it if you like, or drink it. It's up to you. All right.
That was beautiful, Leandra.
Thank you. All right.
You.
Are we ready for open discussions? Anyone want to share?
I will. I really appreciated that right now. I've been really struggling with like some depression, and there's just something about having strength, like being given the strength, that was something I like really needed to connect with. And I don't know, I really, that was a beautiful, beautiful journey.
Good.
And
Good.
it really just helped me to get like a little bit of hope.
Just always hope, and you always have that strength. You do.
And when you have depression and you struggle with that, it's hard to find that strength.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it was good.
There for you. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share your experience or thoughts on it?
Hi, this
Hi.
is Simcha, and my my other name is Joy. So Simcha means joy in
Oh.
Hebrew. But I work with a raptor rehab group here, where we go out and get owls, hawks, eagles, if they're hit or caught in anything, that type of thing. And we were having a show one day, a couple weeks ago, about at a gardening center, and I went crazy and I bought all kinds of stuff and some fresh, dirt and everything. And I came back afterwards, and when I garden, I don't put gloves on. I like the dirt in my hands and underneath my fingernails and stuff. However, there must have gotten some underneath of my watch band, because I have had this irritation on my wrist right where the watch band is ever since I did that. And before we had the meditation now, it was bothering me really, really bad. And then once I rinsed my hands off and everything, it's gone. The irritation isn't gone. I can still see that it's red and swollen and everything, but the physical discomfort is gone. And that's, to me, just so awesome.
Good. Good. I'm glad. Yeah. Wash it definitely with the tea. It'll definitely help.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to let you guys know that when I was holding her, I have a little bit of an issue with journeying, because I tend to not see what the tale that's being told, but I can still sense it and feel it. But I definitely, as I was holding her before she turned to dust, her message to me came as a heart that turned into a butterfly. And oh man, now I lost it. There was something else. A heart that turned into a butterfly, and like I could catch glimpses of her, but I couldn't like focus on her for some reason. I don't know why, but it was a heart that turned into a butterfly. Oh, and then a big, huge like explosion of purple.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's basically, that's great symbolism,
Oh yeah, that's a great message to me.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's a direct message right there.
Love is the key. Love is the key. Let it fly, and it will explode.
Yeah, yeah. And the color purple and the butterfly is transmutation, which means development. The butterfly in the cocoon is completely turned to goo and rearranged, and then it emerges into this beautiful creature that
And
can
that,
fly thousands of miles to its nesting ground. So yeah, there's a lot of symbolism there. I love it.
yeah.
Does anybody else want to share? Where's my girl Jeanette? Don't make me call on you. All right.
I'll share quickly.
Yeah.
I've been having a lot of, for years, struggle with like blaming humans for sucking in so many ways. Like, I feel like we just kind of screw shit up all the time.
I agree.
And I was holding Tailtiu, and she was like, don't give up on our people. Like, don't give up on our people. Shit, I'm gonna cry again.
No, it's okay.
But we suck so much. And she was like, don't quit. Like, I gave so much for our people. Like, don't give up on our people. And then I was like, well, what do you need? You know, like, what do I need to do for you? And she was like, feed the earth, like feed the soil, make it robust. Like, we need to be feeding the earth, like nourishing it. And really, like, she was really powerful about that. So yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, my message that she's given to me over the past couple of weeks, I've been working on developing my relationship with her, has been find the balance. It's all got to come back to balance. We're imbalanced right now, and that's why we suck as humans, right? So her message to me, and again, it was just echoed, just find the balance. You know, look at the wilds and the cultivation and make it work together. There's plenty for everyone. Let's make it work. And so I think that's a powerful message, and that it takes endurance. It takes stamina to establish balance and then maintain it. So yeah, it's a very powerful message, but not something we can solve overnight. Anybody else want to share? Do it. I can't hear you. There you are.
Well, it was very interesting because at the Shire, my property, blackberry is very predominant. It has quite its own layer established there, and I've been working with it a bit. So at the end of the meditation, I didn't come out to the spot where I started. I actually came out through this area that I've kind of trimmed out of this area next to the blackberries, which I'm hoping that we can go back there and have tea and ritual and different things. I mean, it's kind of all overhung vines, and I've kind of respectfully chopped certain areas back. It's kind of interesting for me because she's ripping the trees up, and at that point I was like, no, I've been planting trees. Ripping me up. But for me, that's kind of the nature of the property. You know, there's that balance where I'm trying to plant trees all the time, but I'm also trying to set out the areas where we want to eventually grow things and sense where they need to grow. You know, blackberries are a really great plant for me, apparently.
Good.
Setting boundaries is good.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was interesting because in the meditation things were happening, and then you'd say what was happening and it was the same thing. I'm like, okay, I guess we're on the right track.
I think that's why we're soul sisters, right?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's making an archway. Oh, it's supposed to make an archway. That's so yeah, it was very beautiful. And the tea and the elixir is just fantastic together. And this sweet little moonstone throws white with gold fleck energy, and then when I was looking at the candlelight, it actually has gold flecks in it, which I thought was interesting physically as well as energetically. So that was really nice. So I'm going to let somebody else talk.
Anyone else want to share? All right. Well, then I've been doing the tea leaf readings for us. So this one, all right. So I will start our tea leaf reading. And tea leaf reading, I know I've explained it before, but it's not a science. It's all intuitive. And it is just interpreting the messages, the images that are perceived. So I am seeing, I don't know if you guys can see in there, kind of one of those things where you have to turn it and see it from different angles. So for me, what I'm seeing, I see a bird with big feathers, and that's right at the top. So that usually means it's happening soon. So it almost reminds me of a swan or a peacock. And literally the tea leaves, you can't see it in the image, but the tea leaves are literally coming away from the cup. So they're almost feathered out, like it's getting ready to fly, or it's the peacock feathers are furled out. And to me, that one speaks of showing our beauty, showing how we can be feminine, we can be strong, we can be beautiful and strong. And it's a unique kind of beauty, because the swan and the peacock are not the same, but they're both beautiful. And, you know, the whole story of maybe like the ugly duckling story, how, you know, it wasn't the physical that made the duckling beautiful. It was the transformation, the process of transforming, that made the baby swan, the ugly duckling, beautiful. It was the process we go through to become the beautiful swan at the end. And that, like the butterfly imagery, it takes time, it takes a process, it takes endurance, it takes stamina. And the next image I see way down the bottom, I'll turn it again, you see it from different angles, because the angle is always important. This one, it almost looks like a landmass to me. Like an oasis. Like someplace we can all go personally to find our strength. Because it looks like a very strong landmass, like a big island in the middle of nowhere. But it's personal. Because it's what it looks like to me will look different to you, of course. And that's the point, is it's all symbolism. There's no this or that. It's all how you interpret it. So to me, that's what it looks like. It almost reminds me of Italy, but not quite. It's almost a boot, but not quite. But that's what this image speaks to me about, is that personal oasis where the transformation happens. And this one looks like a grape leaf. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to get my angles right. And this way, here we go. So the one way up here, down at the bottom, that looks like a grape leaf to me, the way it's shaped. And we are coming into the season of the harvest, the grape harvest, the wines, and the, you know, Bacchus time of year. Blackberry wine is big this time of year. So I can't tell, that's not a blackberry leaf, that's actually just a tea leaf, but there are blackberry leaves in here. So that's what that looks like to me. So it's speaking to me of personal transformation through the passage, through the journey, not the destination, and finding that personal space, that personal area where we can make that end result happen. And the grape leaf is that prosperity that comes along with it, that bounty that we harvest at the end. So that's tea leaf reading in a nutshell. Like I said, it's not a science. So did anybody else see anything interesting in there that you want to touch on or talk about in the teacup? Okay.
I thought your island looked like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I guess, yeah, it could. It really could. I like that. I see it now, yes.
I don't have a message to go with that.
No.
Arr!
Arr. Power behind those teeth, right? Sometimes you need teeth and claws. That makes sense. I love that. Okay. Well, I think that if no one else has anything to add, that brings us to the end of our time together. Jeanette, what you got to say? I saw you. You muted. Technology, love it.
It's funny you said Italy because the first thing I saw was a boot.
Yeah.
And I thought work boot, which for me probably doesn't sound like the most feminine thing, but when I do work up in the woods, that's the tool, or work boots. So for me, that's a perfect symbol for her. Because
Absolutely.
you have to put your boots on and get working and ground yourself and do the hard work that needs to be done. So it's just my take.
I like it. That's good. No, I think that works perfectly. It meshes right in there with the symbolism that I saw too.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? You want to add anything else?
Thundered. There is a storm.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I don't
It's raining a little bit here, so.
I just want to thank everyone so much for coming together and being open to the idea of connecting to these old world gods. I think that it's a really rich time for that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
We will send out a recording of this for you, and we'll let you know about our circle in September once we have all of that ironed out.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that's it for tonight.
Yeah. It was wonderful seeing everyone. Thank you. Have a
Thank you all
good
so
week.
much.
Have a good weekend.
Yes. Happy Lamas.
Happy Lamas.
Yes. Have some bread if you eat with gluten.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you
Good
guys
night,
so much.
everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.